Hey, everybody. We're really excited for you guys to get to see the trailer for the marching show for next year. Mr. Kendrick, Mr. Brookhart, and I have been working really, really hard to make sure this is going to be a memorable show that I think is going to be really different from what we've done in the past. And I'm really excited about that. So let's go ahead and watch that now. Hope you guys enjoy it. And we'll talk a little bit about it afterwards. All right, hey, I'm here with Mr. Kendrick, who is the driving force behind a lot of the design for next year's show. And I'm just going to ask him some questions, and he's going to tell us a little bit about it. So let's get started. Mr. Kendrick, kind of where did this idea come from? This whole like nocturnal night animals, bats sort of imagery.
So I think first of all, when I was trying to pick a show out, I wanted to give our color guard, who is a really big strength, something specific to kind of latch onto and be. I've also had this bat show I've wanted to do for a really long time that actually came from a winter guard show I saw about 5, 6 years ago. And I kind of made that connection. Hey, let me show Mrs. Brookhart this video, and she really, really enjoyed it. So that's kind of where we bounced off of with it. Another kind of big inspiration as I was digging into this was there's a bridge on Congress Avenue in Austin that has a colony of bats living in it that come out at night. And that's a pretty big tourist draw in Austin. So I thought that was another really cool aspect because we've all seen vampire shows, we've all seen cave bat shows, but I've never seen a city based bat show. So I thought that would be something really unique to do.
Yeah, so when we were putting the show together, one of the things that we talked about was, it is a show that is more or less about bats, but it's not necessarily exclusively about that because we didn't want this to be a vampire show. We've seen that, and that's cool, but we didn't want to just do something that people have seen before. And we could have said, okay, well then it's like a cave dwelling kind of bat thing, but really the urban edge with it, thinking about like the Austin component and how there's this whole nocturnal thing happening at night with all of these animals and creatures and this whole nightlife thing that happens while the rest of us are asleep or should be asleep. That's all happening. And so we kind of went more of the urban style and the aesthetic for the show, thinking about what we could do in terms of highlighting that bats don't always just live in spooky Transylvania kind of approach to things. You want to talk a little bit about how we came to the music choices for the show?
Yeah, so a lot of the music is like what would, bats emerging from their slumber sound like. That's kind of where the Beethoven came in because it's kind of this kind of a little creepy but very like grandiose like introduction, like here come the bats coming out at night. The Vivaldi Summer from the Four Seasons is very busy. It's very kind of gives me the impression of what bats like swarming might kind of sound like. The Clair de Lune and the Nocturne and the Ballad, that's kind of like the openness and, beauty of the night and the full moon. And, we've all seen pictures of bats flying across the moon at night. So that's kind of what I imagine that sounded like. And then the Ryan George piece for the closer, which is called The Bats of Ladybird. It's actually about that bridge in Austin um, where those bats come out at night. So that's kind of to me, okay, the night is ending. The bats are going to go back into their hiding spot for the day. So basically, all the music is kind of like what I envisioned those certain things sounding like. All those might not necessarily have anything to do with bats, but that's kind of what those different things sound like. So that was kind of the musical driving force behind all that.
when you put a marching show together, you almost think about what you're trying to do as if you're creating a small film. And then if you were going to use music that was already available, what music might you choose for your small film? And then we spend a lot of time not only discussing music that would work really well in the marching band format, but also what would be some really cool pieces that would highlight student strengths that we have, visual things that we want to come across or get across to the audience. And I just wanted to say about that Bats of Lady Bird. We did not know for the longest time what the end of the show was going to be. We had the first three pretty well picked out, and then I was at Midwest, and I heard, I think it was Leander High School Band premiered this. Was it Vandergrift? Thank you, Vandergrift. Yeah. Premiere this piece at Midwest. And Ryan George is from the Austin area, and he's also most notably the brass arranger for the Boston Crusaders, right?
Yes.
Boston Crusaders. So very well-known arranger and composer. And they started playing this piece, and I was like, that's a ladybird. Man, wouldn't this be cool if it worked? And with like 30 seconds in, I was like, okay, hey, Mr. Kendrick, I think we found our closer. And so we all listened to it, and it was pretty unanimous right away. So that's the piece that I've been kind of telling some of the students about that we're going to work on for the spring concert. It's a challenge, so we'll see if we can get it across the finish line, but we will have that available to play on the spring concert, which is kind of a unique way to introduce some of the music. There is a fifth piece listed in the program of music selections, and that's one of the Chopin nocturnes. And it may not be used where we play an entire movement of music from that Chopin nocturne, but it may be the sort of thing where some themes from it kind of are melded throughout the show. About half the show's written right now. We're in the process of getting it sent off to our battery arranger, Alex Beltran, who is also at Boston Crusaders.
Yeah, he's a tenor tech at Boston Crusaders and arranger for United Percussion at WGI. So I'm really excited about the beats he's going to get us.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
And then we're bringing on a sound designer, I think also from the Austin area, named Miguel Perez, which is really exciting. So we have a lot of the same design folks from years past. Dr. Brooks is writing drill for us again this year and helping us realize our visual aspect of the show. But Mr. Kendrick has taken a much bigger portion of the design of the show with Mrs. Brookhart. And then I'm writing the winds, but we did open that up to a new battery writer and a new sound designer, and I'll also write the front ensemble parts. So I'm really excited to get this show, the arranging done, and be able to start kind of doing some of the brass tacks with the visual aspects of it, and really excited for you guys to be able to get to start working on it. So as we have stuff available, we'll send it out to you, audio files, artwork, aesthetics.
Yeah.
We've got some of that stuff that we could probably roll out here pretty soon. But we're really excited for you guys to get the show and to be able to listen to the source music and get a feel for what we're going to do. And hopefully it's going to feel like something that Canyon High has never really embarked on. And as much as like there's an inherent darkness in the show because it's at night, we don't actually really want it to be like a dark, brooding show. We really want it to be something that we can have a lot of fun with.
Can I talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the aesthetic of the show is urban, obviously. So I thought a fun way to bring in some color and lightness to that. Graffiti is going to be a very big aesthetic portion to the show. So you're going to see a lot of color brought in through that, and probably silks that the color guard is going to be using on the backdrops, which Amanda Brookhart is doing a really cool job creating that kind of stuff. So as much as it is about bats, it's also about, the city landscape at night as well. So that'll be a really fun way to try to bring in some color and lightness to it as well.
Yeah, this whole show is going to happen after my bedtime. But that's okay. I just take your word for what happens. I don't think I've seen midnight in a really long time, but I'm an old man now. All right, well, anyhow, we're excited for you guys to dig in with the show, and hope you're excited about the theme and the concept and the music. And we're excited to bring this thing to life in the fall. Thanks.